Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going fantastic and wonderful and all the good things. Thanks so much for joining me for another 5 Easy Step card. Today we're making a gingerbread card and we're just going to jump right in and get started. The die set that I'm using today to create step number 1, which is our focal point, is called Gingerbread Delivery. It is adorable. You have this parachuting gingerbread, which is sweet, and then you also have a little hot air balloon, and I'm a sucker for gingerbread. I can't help it. I just love them. And I thought we would just make 2 gingerbread for our card today and shake things up a little bit. So let's start by doing a little bit of die cutting. I think the cardstock that makes the perfect gingerbread is Nina Desert Storm, or is a craft cardstock. So I'm going to take this cute little guy and I'm going to cut him out twice. Okay, what's cute is there are some scarves and hats also, and I'm going to doctor up, we're going to cozy up our gingerbread with some scarves and hats. So I'll cut this out once with some yellow cardstock and then once with almost like a, this is Spellbinders Sicily, and it's almost like a burnt orange kind of a color. We'll cut that out with that one. So one of my gingerbread will have a yellow scarf and hat, the other one will have a orange scarf and hat. And I think we need some frosting on our gingerbread. So we need some white cardstock. I'll cut out 2 sets of these. I like that they're all included in one die. These are the little frosting squiggles that you add to the gingerbread. So I will do some die cutting and I'll be right back. I'm going to toasty up my gingerbread using some distress oxide ink and a finger dauber. We're just going to add a little bit of toastiness to the edge of our gingerbread. This little guy is just adorable. And we're going to flip over our gingerbread, and then using my glue, we're going to add these extra pieces behind the buttons and also behind the eyes and the face. These just line up beautifully. Okay, so we're going to flip these over, and now we're going to add our icing pieces. All the sweetness is added to our gingerbread. Now we need to add our little hat. Now I'm going to, there's a scarf and a hat. I die cut out both. We're going to ink blend a little bit of color on the cuff of the yellow using some more Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to use mustard seed and just darken it up so it is a little bit different from the base hat. And we'll do the pom-pom too. We'll just add a little color there. And then we'll do the same thing with our rust colored. I'm using ripe persimmon. I'm thinking this will be dark enough. Let's see. Let's try crackling campfire. And I think that's going to work out great. We're just going to add a little. I just want it to be a little bit different. We're going to do the scarf too. And then let me clean off my work surface and we'll put together our scarf. And then all you do is layer the cuff of the cap and the pom-pom on the base. And then you can add the little tail to the scarf. Add this one. I was a little far away when I put it together, but they're really easy to put together. You just add the cuff to the pom-pom and then this little piece to the base of the scarf. It was really easy. Now I'm going to add a little glue here and at the top of my gingerbread's head. And we can add our winter gear. Don't they just make you happy? Okay, this is my focal point. We're going to put these to the side. Zoom back out here. And then we're going to work on step number 2 and create our home panel. For my home panel today, I thought we would create a shaker. And it's going to be a larger shaker because we're going to be using the Bows and Bell Scallop frame. I've used this before. I'll leave a coordinating video at the end. But this one was, we'll add the smallest stitching. And we're going to create a frame with this. This is going to make a nice shaker. And real dainty too. I think it's going to go really well with our gingerbread. I'm going to use some, a little bit of a light gray cardstock. And we're lining it up. And then I'll just tape it down. And then I'm also going to create a background using the same color of cardstock. You'll do that and I'll be right back. So now I have my frame and we are going to add a piece of acetate behind it. So I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to use my tape runner for this just because it's less messy. We'll just add this right behind our window. I also took our gingerbread die set, and this piece here is meant for the balloon, but I thought it made a great icing scallop, so I die cut out several of them, and I thought we would line our frame with the icing. I thought it would be just make it even sweeter. So we're just going to add a little glue, and we will probably have to overlap a couple of them. Okay, we have a little gap here and a little gap here. So I have one left over. I'm just going to trim it. Actually, we should strategically trim it. So I will trim it here. And we'll add this piece. And I'll do the same thing down here in the bottom. Now that's the front of my shaker. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put some foam tape behind here. For today's card, I did double up on my foam tape. So there's 2 layers there. I did that because I had picked up some shakers. These are from Doodlebug Designs. They're called White Lily Balls. And I honestly thought when I got them that the jar was a smaller jar. I'm going to get this off of here. But I thought these were so cute as little snowballs. And so I'm going to fill up my shaker with these. They're little white plastic balls, which I thought would be adorable. And the jar on here is really, this is a good size jar. You can see next to an A2 panel that it's a really good size jar. And I also bought these ones too. These ones are called Bitty Bubbles. These have a little bit of a blue tint to them. Should we add, maybe add a few of these too? These feel a little bit heavier than these, but great little shaker fillers. Okay, so I'm going to give it a shake, and then I'm going to take my background, flip it over, and then we're just going to layer these together. I always get one that wants to get away. Okay. Now, how fun is this? I love the feeling of this. I may have filled it a little too full, but I think this will go great on a card. Okay, so that's my home panel. Now let's take our gingerbread I'm going to add some foam tape behind them. Adorable. Okay, now we're going to move along to step 3 and create our sentiment. For step 3, I'm going to bring in some more of that rust colored cardstock, and we're going to do some stamping and heat embossing. I'm going to use the stamp set from my stash. It's called Christmas Memories Enclosed. And, oh, that's cute. This says do not shake. Well, that's awful adorable. I think I'm going to take that do not shake and I'm going to stamp this. Okay, I'm going to treat both of my papers. This is a darker yellow cardstock than the one that I use for my gingerbread. Okay, but I think a little heat embossing will show up better on this. So I'm just going to treat my papers, and then I'm going to stamp do not shake on the yellow. And then I'm going to stamp a little something on the rust color here. And I'll go over both of these with my white embossing powder. Okay, I'm going to bring in my heat gun and we'll melt both of these. Okay, and I'm going to block this off with my paper trimmer, and then with this one, I'm going to be using a small tag. This is Spellbinders Assorted small tags. This one I think will go perfect with this here. So I will cut these out. Now I'm going to take a white eyelet and add it to this little tag. I just like to add it wonderful. And I'm also going to put some foam tape behind here. And that will be my greeting for today's card. We're going to put this with our home panel, and now we're going to work on step number 4, which is our background. For my background, we're going to go really basic. I'm using the same gray cardstock that we used for our shaker frame. And all I'm going to do is add some adhesive behind here, and we are going to just layer this right over the front of our card base. Before we adhere it to our background, I'm going to do step number 5, and we're going to do a little embellishing. I'm going to embellish with some white twine. Okay, I love scallop borders because when you add twine, it keeps it in place for you. Okay, I'm going to tie a knot here, and then I'll just trim down that knot. So now we just have a little knot there. And then I did thread some twine through my tag here. I did pop it up with some foam tape. And then we are going to add this over here. I placed it in the bottom corner, and then we're just going to tie a bow here. So it's going to look like we wrapped around that tag around our card. Kind of a faux wrap. Lovely. Then we'll just trim the tails of our bow. And then we have our do not shake. And I think we're going to add this over here. I did go ahead and used a couple of my Spellbinders Color Essential Gems. This one is Spectrum AB. I put them on the buttons of my gingerbread. Okay, just to add a little extra sparkle. That was a good choice for that. And then I'm also bringing in my diamond stickles, and I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to our gingerbread's pom-pom on the hat. We're just going to add a little dimension to that. And this has the same iridescent sparkle as the gems, so it's going to go really nicely together. A little extra dimension there. Now I'm going to take this panel and put it on our background. I'm just using a little bit of glue here to tack it down carefully. And I do want to mention too that this is one of those cards that would make a great magnet. If you guys missed that video, I created a card that had a removable keepsake magnet. This is one of those shakers that you could do the same thing with. I think it'd make a fabulous magnet. It's a lot larger than the one I created, but I think it'll create a really fun magnet. But that will finish off my card project for today. I thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.